Good morning, students. Today we are going to read a poem, A Tiger in the Zoo. This poem has been written by Leslie Norris. Leslie Norris was a prize winning Welsh poet. His full name was George Leslie Norris. He was also a short story writer. He is considered as most important Welsh writers of the post-war period and his literary works have won many prizes. His famous works are Finding Gold, The Loud Winder, Phoenix Living Poet series. The poem, written by Leslie Norris, explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains what his life could if he had been a free animal. The poet has tried to explain about the condition of animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. So then, stranger one, he stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cave on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Here the poet says that the tiger that is confined in the zoo moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin. He further says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is small and it is not easy to move in it. One cannot hear his footsteps because he has very soft feet like velvet, because of which there is no sound of the tiger's footsteps. The tiger tries to control his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of his cage. He is angry because he is not free. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where the plump deer pass. The poet says that in this stanza, if this tiger was free, he would have hid himself behind the long grass near the water body so that he could easily catch a deer in order to have it as its food. Basically, the poet wants to say that the actual life of a tiger is to live in jungle where he could catch his prey and eat it, but the tiger in the cage cannot to do so. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. The poet says that if the tiger would have been free, he would have snarled, he would have roared around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest. He would terrorize people with his sharp tooth and claws. This would create fear among the people living in the villages. Next stanza. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Now the poet comes to the reality of the tiger that is inside the cage. He says that the tiger is confined in a strong cell which is made of strong building material. He further says that as the tiger is behind bars, so his ferociousness is also behind the bars. He just stalks in the cave. He never tries to terrorize the visitors because his power is restricted by the cave. Therefore, he never tries to terrorize the visitors as he cannot attack them. He hears the last voice at night the patrolling cars and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The poet says in this last stanza, in the night the tiger hears the sounds of patrolling cars. Patrolling cars are the vehicles of police which are used to guard at night. So, in the night, the tiger hears the sound of these cars. He then stares at the shining stars with his shining eyes. The poet wants to say that the tiger is sad, and as he is confined in the cage, so he cannot do anything. Therefore, he stares at the stars in the night and tries to divert his thoughts towards them. So, students, you can understand here the anger of tiger. You can understand the problems of the tiger. The tiger is not happy in this concrete cell, so he is leading his life in a very boring way, and again and again he is listening the sound of cars, and at night he stares only the stars. So here the poet shows the problem of a tiger who is confined in a concrete cell.